Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 28th of January. So looking at the euro dollar first, and well, yesterday saw a further downside on the euro. Now I've popped in the very important 1.1 potential support area. Now we found support around this area twice before. Now so around this area it has pierced the area and we could still see that happen. If it breaks below these prior lows though, it becomes a much weaker pairing, and we could see it running right the way back towards the monthly S2 there. So it would be potential anyway, and this would be even going down to the 1085 sort of zone is possible. Now fundamentally, and the big money's following suit a little bit, coming out a little bit, but it's still got massive positions on the euro. Fundamentally the figures aren't looking great, so and that's really what's driving things through here. Now people will pick fault with the US data, but the European data is a more difficult one to turn around basically. Anyway, moving on quickly, and well, so we've got the weekly pivot above. If we was to see any sort of rallies, that would still be a potential target. As I'm looking at it this morning, well, it's sort of done the fake out breakout here so far pre 8 o'clock, just ran to the downside there. I'd watch this reaction to the 60-minute 50, although it's been chewed up on previous days here. Personally, I think the euro might be a difficult one today. It may run up through into the 21 there, 21, the 1 even, and push through, but there are signs of some divergence across the lows here on this 60-minute time frame. It could be basing out here somewhat. I'm just coming back to the 4-hourly and fractional, perhaps not actually, it's a lower low there. So but certainly on the 60-minute, it may just be the early signs of a bit of a retrace, and as I said, we may see that weekly pivot hit sooner rather than later. It's not far away, so 36 pips away-ish, so not far. Okay, the pound's much more steady overall, or has been much more steady overall, although still selling off at the moment. The thing at the point of see here is this tight range, and also the threat of the potential cut of interest rates on Thursday, although I'm looking at quite a few suggesting it's not going to happen, but I wouldn't be overly surprised if it did. Now the figures haven't been looking good. Strong sell-off through the Asian session here. This may be just on the basis of the EU president suggesting it will take much longer to get some sort of trade deal than suggested, but well, I don't know, we'll see. But for now, selling off there on the pound. It did us well yesterday. We'll see how it does today. I'm still looking at the potential reversal back into towards the daily pivot. Maybe it's missed today. I'd be looking maybe back to that at some point this morning if we see some sort of reversal. Okay, dollar yen. Dollar yen, well, it's a bit more risk off again now. Sorry, risk back on again even. Get it the right way around here. There is the gap there. I would like to see that gap filled, maybe running up to that weekly pivot there potentially. It's still. I'd just like to see the gap filled and that move so I could short it basically. I still think it's got further downside on the bigger picture, but do not like being on the long side of it at the moment, because just purely because it's such a risk tool. At the moment, well, just at this current hour, just starting to sell off quite quickly in the hour relative to what we've seen, but the ranges are very, very tight. We're sort of looking at a 20 pip range over a whole day there, or just a little bit more than a 20 pip range over a whole day, which is pretty much untradeable on an intraday basis. Aussie dollar, another sell off yesterday, strong sell off. Continuation through a little bit today. I think there's the risk of the coronavirus is being seen, or was seen yesterday, and it was probably putting extra weight on the Aussie there. And of course, it was Australian Day, and there was no sort of not a lot of volume coming through there yesterday. So we'll see how it picks up this morning. But daily pivot sits above. If it can hold this low here and start pushing up, maybe it could pull back towards that. But it's about 22 pips away, 23 pips away. It's not a lot of distance to that. So maybe even on this short-term trend that's sort of running down there, if it starts breaking out, it could be a buy. But as I say, not big movements. Canadian dollar. Well, the Canadian dollar's just continuing. Yesterday, just pushed on upwards towards monthly R1, that daily 200, which could be drawing it. And of course, those prior highs. There's a whole group of the whole level of 133.20 upwards to about 35, somewhere in that region, where we've seen this resistance previously. It may just be working back up to that sort of zone. Short term here, well, just continuing to move up there. Any sell off, well, weekly pivots obviously below, daily pivots almost being touched. Ranges here very, very tight. Again, not moving very much for an intraday basis. May be more useful on a swing basis, but I would really need a retracement to get into for that. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. News wise today, we've got just the Spanish unemployment rate there, that's already out. US core durable goods at 130. We get a bit of volatility from that, and the way the US dollar is being watched at the moment, I would certainly watch for that. And the US consumer confidence at 3. So that's it for today. Have a great one. Bye for now.